Hey kids, it's Finn. Lately, something interesting has developed. So, in recent months, I have progressively, become more and more okay to the point that it has me questioning my perception of reality. I'm just used to being depressed all the time, and it's very odd to, I don't know, have that absent from my experience. And I am not completely certain if what I am experiencing is a lack of depression or just diet depression, because where I am now is just so far away from what I'm used to experiencing. I don't know what's going on, honestly. I asked myself if I could wink out of existence what I want to, and I still want to, but I guess I care less. The other day, I had an interesting experience. I was just, putzing around online, and I heard a voice. And I don't know if I've talked about the voices that I hear. Um, it sounds so fucking dumb. Like, I'm trying to get attention or some shit. But it happens. And it's a lot less distressing than how I see it described by a lot of people. And maybe it's because of my ever pervasive apathy. But hearing voices isn't the worst part of my experience as a person. And if I could do away with all the uncomfortable things that I experienced and just have that, I'd be fucking chilling, to be honest. So yeah, lately I haven't really been globetrotting all that much, but I did hear a voice. The voices that I hear, I had to describe them to the psychologist that I spoke to. One is a person of indeterminate gender. They kind of have a neutral, bordering on masculine voice, and they say the most fucked up things. Like, that's the only voice that's ever told me to kill myself. Then I have another one that is an older black woman who speaks in AAVE, African American vernacular. And every time I talk about this voice in particular, people assume that it's my mom. My mom doesn't talk in AAVE, so it's not her. And also, I know what my mom fucking sounds like. It's not my mom. And I don't think it's a projection of my mom either. This voice just doesn't have the same feel as my mom. But she talks about the things that I'm doing critically. And that is a thing that my mom does, but it isn't in this way. This is like distinctly a big mama type person, that has something to say about fucking everything. My mom's not like that. She's just kind of an asshole sometimes. Then there's a child. The child cries a lot. I don't really hear the child all that often. I don't really pay attention, but yeah, the child is quiet. But this new voice was interesting because it was a young woman, and she only speaks in singing. So she literally sings everything she says. And compared to the other voices, she's innocuous. I don't think, I can't remember. I can't remember because I was just so, I was stricken by hearing a new voice. Um, yeah, I was just very much taken aback when it happened. And so I don't remember what she said, but I remember that she sang it, and I remember that it wasn't bad. And I think it might have been good, but I can't quite remember. It's like having a dream when you're sick. You're kind of in this delirium, and you kind of remember that you dreamt about something, but you can't remember anything about it. And maybe something will jog your memory. Maybe you'll encounter something that will make you remember it, but you probably won't. That's what um, that's what hearing the voices is like for me. It's like this switch in my head is flipped, and then I start hearing things, both in my head and outside my head. The voices are inside, and then I have these weird sounds that I hear outside. So to bring it back to general mental health, I'm not sure if this is a continued symptom of psychotic depression or indicative of something else. And I don't know if in the long run it even fucking matters. So, moving on. Something also kind of odd as far as mental health goes is how do I even put this? I feel like this is something that people don't talk about a lot openly, but I don't think it is anything wrong with it. It's a I don't know, common experience in a lot of people's everyday lives. Masturbation. Yeah, it's a thing. Some of y'all don't know how to fucking act when I bring up things like this. You kind of ascribe your own bullshit. You kind of project your own preconceived notions and bullshit, general bullshit, to what I'm saying, which is absolutely your prerogative. But be aware that I am trying to say something like that actually means some shit, and I'm not trying to I don't know, rile you up. I'm not trying to arouse you in any way. I'm speaking about this like purely medically, like purely objectively, and any and all other messages that you gather from what I'm saying are on you, to be honest. So, masturbation. It is a part of a lot of people's lives, whether it be every day, every week, every month, you know, a few times a year. It's different for everyone. For me, it is a source of stress relief, and it's almost like how a person who does a lot of comfort eating, it's kind of that experience where you're not necessarily hungry, but you eat because it resolves the stress that you're experiencing. So for me, that is kind of what masturbation is. I use it to relieve stress because there are a series of neurotransmitters, hormones that flow and, you know, make you feel fucking better. And maybe that's not the same for everyone, but for me, it definitely does make me feel more calm and just generally better. And it's not something that I super do often, but it is kind of a you know, a practice in maintenance and cleaning out the pipes. And I hear a lot of asexuals use that analogy, cleaning out the pipes, which is it is really the best way to describe it. And I can't think of a better way to say it other than, you know, it's just maintenance for me. and I'm probably also going to regret this, but I feel like it should be normalized. I don't digitally masturbate. I don't use my hands. I have a toy because I have carpal tunnel, and it actually does help a lot to have another implement rather than using your hands if you have any kind of musculoskeletal problems with your wrists, hands, fingers. So yeah, my Hitachi wand has it's one of those rechargeable ones that has like a cord that you plug into it, and the cord has a short in it, and it's been finicky for a few months, for like a couple months. And so it's actually been kind of a long time since I have used it, honestly. And I haven't been under a whole lot of stress, but I find it interesting that I've lost a source of stress relief in the past couple months, and that hasn't really affected my level of stress. Like it's not higher than it was before. And maybe it's kind of the fallout from having all of those holidays and stuff going on, and that really jamming up my my weight loss, and you know, using up all of my social currency, my ability to, you know, put up with people. And maybe I've, you know, replenished that and am now okay, and it'll, you know, be depleted again, and I'll be stressed out if I hang out with people too much. I don't know. I'm not entirely certain about it, but it is an interesting thought that maybe I had been relying too heavily on using masturbation as stress relief. Maybe I actually don't need it as much as I think I do. And it is kind of a way of self-medicating. Like a person would use alcohol or any other kind of drug or food, doing something to elicit the response of having more dopamine in your system, having those like good juju feels. It's, you know, low grade self-medication. And yeah, I found that not that I don't need it, but that it is not as much of a need as I initially thought. And that's just really interesting to think about. So yeah, I'm learning about myself every day. But yeah, I'll talk to you guys later.